Welcome to the Conscious Kinky Podcast, where we explore sexuality, connection, and power through awareness and intentional choice.
At the Kink Collective, we help people reframe their relationship with sexuality, build deeper connections, and become safe spaces in the world.
Each episode invites reflection, not performance.
And the conversation continues inside Conscious Conversations, our live community space. Welcome to the conversation.
Episode 2, Boundaries as Capacity, Clarity Before Resentment.
I love that. Let's tell the truth. Most people don't struggle with boundaries because they're cruel, right? They struggle because they're afraid. Afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of being seen as difficult, afraid of losing access, and afraid of being alone.
Now here's the deeper truth. Weak boundaries don't protect connection. They delay conflict. And that's a fact. They postpone clarity. They manufacture resentment. Welcome to the Conscious Kinky Podcast. I'm Joshua.
And I'm Kat. This month we're exploring consent, capacity, and context. And this week we're going straight into boundaries. Not boundaries as walls, not boundaries as ultimatums, but boundaries as capacity.
A boundary isn't about control. It's information about what your nervous system can sustain. When you override a boundary, you're not being generous. You're borrowing against your future self. And that loan comes with interest.
And in our work, especially inside kink and power dynamics, boundaries aren't optional. They're structural. They're what makes intensity possible. Without boundaries, there is no trust. And without trust, there is no depth.
We introduce structure clearly with this episode. Inside Conscious Conversations, this first round happens in breakout rooms. Minimum of 3 people per room, you'll have 25 minutes. And we'll ask you to take 3 minutes per question at first as the viewer in this podcast. You'll pause and then you'll come back. If you're doing this with someone else, give yourselves space to answer this personally. Don't advise each other, don't save each other. Process with each other, but I think spend more time witnessing than trying to fix.
Yeah.
And remember, some of the most powerful insights don't come from your own answer. They come from hearing someone else say something you've never allowed yourself to admit.
That's the magic of Conscious Conversations.
Yeah.
Being in the breakout rooms and hearing other people answer these questions, and you hear things that you didn't think of, that you go, oh, of course, that.
Yeah. So as we dive into these questions again, hear the question, listen to what we got to say, and then pause before the next question. Give yourself 3 minutes and
Pen
jot
and
it all
paper.
down.
Write it all down.
And then come back in a day or two and revisit. So let's jump right into the questions. Question number 1, what boundary do I avoid setting and why? And I want you to take into consideration. Is it fear of rejection? Is it fear of being perceived as rigid? Fear of being alone?
The boundaries that I avoid setting are the ones that have to do with me not overdoing it for myself. That have to do with the interpersonal boundaries. I don't struggle with as much anymore. I mean, I don't easily tolerate people talking to me in a way I don't want to be talked to. I don't have those kind of boundary issues. The boundary issues are with myself and with my capacity, right? Which is what we're talking about with this, right? It's like, do I have the spoons to do whatever it is I'm putting myself up to doing? And do I put myself up to do it out of a fear of rejection or out of that fear of being perceived as unavailable? That's the questions I need to ask myself.
For myself, for a long time, I think it was access to me. from people who I didn't want to feel rejected. Even though maybe the relationships may have ended or they had the connections shifted. But I didn't change the way I was engaging in the relationships because of fear. Fear of what? Fear of disappointing, fear of hurting someone's feelings. I think now the boundary that I avoid setting, I think, like you said, it's capacity. Like, I'm not resting when my body's telling me to rest. I'm pushing through it. And that's exhausting after a while.
Yeah. I think some of that's even cultural. I don't think you and I are unique in that regard, right? I think a lot of us do that. We live in a society that pushes us to do more, go more, harder, get more done, be more productive, blah, blah, blah. I think a lot of us learn how to keep going and to keep pushing by not paying attention to those boundaries, not paying attention to the invitation that we get from our body to rest, relax, or do something else.
And call it perseverance.
Yeah, call it perseverance, call it, whatever other words that go for that.
Now, my other thing about that is, in the last few weeks, I've had 2 people set appointments with me where they just missed the appointment. And they messaged a day later and said, oh, I'm sorry, I slept. My body needed rest, so I listened to my body and slept. And it's like in the same breath, you didn't message me to tell me that that's what you were doing, right? So it's like, I get taking care of yourself first, but to what degree?
That brings up a whole other issue, right? Like how considerate are we of other people's time, right? Like I do need to take care of myself, and maybe I'm not going to make the appointment, but I don't not make the appointment and not tell you about it, and then later tell you that it was because I was taking care of myself that I was disrespectful of your time.
I was listening to the divine energy and it said I needed rest. It's like, cool. Well, my divine energy said, be here at fucking 2:00.
Right, because I made an agreement with you that I would be.
Right?
Right, and maybe my divine energy would have said I should be resting too, but I made an agreement and I decided to hold up my end of that bargain.
So I wonder what trumps what, agreements or self-care in certain circumstances, right? It's like, where's the line in that?
It's a good question.
Where's the line in that?
But I do think that there's a certain degree of respect for other people's time.
Yeah,
You know,
at least communicate that.
Yeah, taking time to rest instead of making an appointment doesn't preclude a quick text. I mean, even a text that says, not going to make it. I'll check in with you tomorrow or something.
So I think like the boundary I set in that is like, well, you don't get access to me.
Right. And there's that thing, because you do that, and that's the thing you're afraid of. Like if I say no, if you reverse the roles and you were to not make an appointment that you made with someone, would you be afraid that they wouldn't want to see you again, that they wouldn't give you access?
Yeah, but I think what the context matters in the sense that if you told me I was going to be here and I put my time and energy into doing it, that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah. And that's different then, because I don't think you'd be the kind of person who would change your mind and not tell somebody.
Yeah.
Right? Have to change plans and not let somebody know.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 2. How does my body respond when a boundary is crossed? These are all going to be body signals, right? Tightness in the chest, clenching of the jaw, breathing getting shallow, talking too much, or shutting down, or not talking at all.
Be specific with your answers on this one, because this is a way to see something coming, foresight on what do you have happening inside your body. Like, this is uncomfortable, this is a boundary being pushed. Being able to acknowledge it in my body first gives me the waypoint to know what's happening.
Yeah. Well, even in the last example, when someone doesn't show up for an appointment, there's probably a certain feeling that goes with that, but then there's probably another feeling that came when you found out the reason why they didn't show up for the appointment.
Yeah.
In terms of which boundary had been crossed.
Yeah, it's funny because like initially my thought goes to concern. Oh my God, I hope something's okay. Before it used to be the opposite of that. It's like about disrespect and yada yada. Now it goes to well, I hope everything's okay.
Right.
And then everything's okay, and it's like, oh well, then fuck, dude, what the fuck? Right?
Yeah. And I think, and so what is that feeling in your body?
So
What's the what? Where do you experience that what the fuck feeling?
I think that's a tightness in the chest,
Yeah.
and a jaw clenching is like, it's angering. It's frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whenever I have boundaries crossed, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Or shallow breathing, right? For example, being touched by someone when I don't want to be touched, right?
That makes you go shallow.
That makes my breathing shallow. It makes me clench on the inside.
Yeah, I clench when a boundary gets crossed, I clench on the inside. Everything gets tight. My jaw, my chest, even my fists. I can feel my fists wanting to do it as I'm talking about it, right? I get that feeling that's like, oh.
Or shutting down. Shutting down's another one.
Shutting down is what I do externally.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can think of a time where I had a conversation with someone and we had an agreement, and then within 2 days' time, that agreement was violated. And my immediate reaction was, "Arr, arr, 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 arr." Externally, I said nothing. I went silent. I didn't want to address it. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want it to be conflict. And so I just said nothing.
Yeah. Just a little curve in the collar is driving me nuts.
Thank you for fixing my
You're very welcome.
my collar.
All right. Let's jump into question 3. Where do I override my own no to maintain connection? I want you guys to think about intimate and romantic relationships, professional dynamics, family, community spaces.
I might override my no in all of those places, depending on how I was. If I was feeling like connection is genuinely threatened, like if I really, or even mistakenly, if I mistakenly, because unless I do it, I don't know, right? If I don't have a no, if I don't put my no out there, then all I can do is guess what the response would be if I did, and I'm just guessing. Right? Maybe if my fear is if I say no, I'll be rejected. But if I actually did it, I wouldn't be. I don't know it until I take the risk and do it. Until I actually say the no and see what happens. I don't know what's really going to happen. So a lot of it's what I imagine is going to happen.
I think this comes back to the capacity for me. When I do override my no, it's to stay in moments, it's to stay in whatever's happening. And that happens in all these areas too, I believe. And it comes back to wanting to be the person they believe I am, not wanting to miss out on opportunity, wanting it to be me, meaning I want to have my name attached to the experience because it's important for me, right? Even at the cost of my energy or my time. I think that's where I override my own no to maintain connections. It definitely revolves around my energy. Question 4. What story do I tell myself to justify weak boundaries? Things like, it's not that big of a deal, they didn't mean it, or maybe I'm being dramatic, or I'm being way overblown, or it's easier this way.
Yeah, I think in the case that I just said, like the not saying anything was more about I don't want to get into it. I don't want to make a fight. I don't want to make somebody wrong, or I don't want to find out that I'm wrong. And so I just decide not to. And so I tell myself those stories to justify not having the boundary.
For myself, it's about not wanting to be the person that ruins it, right? It's like, oh, I don't want them to not do it because of me, or I don't want it to go wrong if I'm not there, right? Or what if they do it better than I do? I don't think
ego.
I don't think I've experienced, I'd have to think about, I think the phrase that I would actually say is, I'll do it right, so let me do it.
As if to say, if you didn't do it, it wouldn't get done right?
It wouldn't get done right. Or like, let's say you wanted to get a ride somewhere and I was tired, or someone else was going to drive and I knew they were a shitty driver. It's like, well, I'm a better driver, so let me go do it. Versus letting whoever else is going to do that. Yeah, it's kind of, I'd have to, what's the word, to justify weak boundaries. Yeah, it's better if I just do it. Right? I don't want them to make a mistake. Now, the other thing is, when delegating or when someone's going to do something, if I ask someone to do something or they're going to do it, do I need it done a specific way or do I just need it done? Right? And that's something else to consider.
Yeah.
Is just what's the desired outcome?
Yeah.
And sometimes I justify weak boundaries around desired outcome. I want it to be a specific way, so I'll just get up and do it.
When in fact it would be okay if it just went
Yeah.
not that way.
Yeah.
If it went a slightly different way.
Yeah.
It would actually be okay. But you tell yourself, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So before moving into the second round, I want to remind you guys a few things. Take 3 minutes with each question as they come. Then come back in a day or two and flesh them out a bit more.
Yeah. You'll be surprised how your answers evolve. And when your emotions settle and your perspective has a chance to widen, boundaries can become clearer with a little bit of distance or with a little bit of inspection now and then a few days from now.
Yeah, I'll be sure to revisit this and be like, what the fuck? That's what I meant to say. But I'll say that on Tuesdays in Conscious Conversations. So this is the deeper layer. This is where ownership shows up. Same structure, 25 minutes for you guys at home. Take 3 minutes per question and then come back. For those incoming to Conscious Conversations, this is just a reminder. You're going to go into a breakout room with at least 2 other people to share different perspectives in everything. And perspective is everything here. So come on Tuesdays. You'll be surprised how wide your understanding and awareness gets. So, question 5.
What would my boundaries sound like if they came from self-respect instead of anger? What's the tone that you take when you set a boundary? How do you deliver it? How calmly but firmly do you deliver a boundary?
Are you a reactive boundary setter or a regulated boundary setter?
Well, I think my boundaries, if boundaries came from self-respect, they would be a measured response. They wouldn't be reactive. Reactive boundaries are the ones that are angry. Those are, and for the most part, I don't talk when I'm in a reactive place anymore. I've learned by touching the iron too many times that no matter where I'm at, when I'm in because for me, reactive also has a righteousness to it. I get a righteous edge to me, and I'm never right when I'm feeling that righteousness, and it never goes well. So if I think I'm going to set this boundary or I'm going to tell them whatever it is, it never goes right. It never goes well. It's never well received, and it's never really ultimately, when I calm all the way back down, what I really meant anyway.
I think the boundaries would sound, one, they would come sooner than later. Like I would address a boundary sooner than waiting for it to be stepped over and then addressing it. I think that would allow me to say it with more confidence and firmness because it's a knowing for me, right? Like, hey, no thanks, I don't want to do that, versus it happening and then saying, no, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Right? So I think the self-respect part comes in the sense of showing up for myself before the boundary gets pushed.
Like proactively.
Proactively.
Yeah.
When I'm aware of the circumstance where I can see something coming. Now, let's say the boundary is overstepped. How does it sound coming from a place of self-respect versus anger? Right? And I think the tone would be calmer. The delivery would be, and I'm going to use the words firm again. calm firmness, like we said previously.
like firm,
But
but not intense.
it's to
firm,
say
but
it-
not like angry and edgy.
To say it as a knowing, like, listen, this is not cool and I'm not okay doing it,
Yeah,
versus combative or with conflict.
right.
Right. So I guess for me, it's standing in my knowing of my boundaries.
Yeah, and in some cases for me, it's about setting the boundary with no real regard for how it's going to land. It's one of those things where we're not having a conversation. I'm just relaying information.
This is a fact.
This is what's true for me. And it doesn't really matter what your response is. I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that in a way that I don't care how you feel or what that means to you. But however you feel doesn't change the fact that this is my boundary, that this is what's real for me.
Yeah.
Right? And so setting that boundary is more a way of relaying information rather than trying to engage in a conversation. Like, I don't need your approval. I don't need your permission. I just need you to hear me.
Yeah. Yeah. So, question number 6. What has weak boundaries cost me, emotionally or relationally? Now, this one needs honesty for you folks and for us. Was trust lost? Was there resentment, burnout, self-abandonment?
Yeah. I think in the case of, where I had that incident where I set a boundary and then felt like I had it crossed and I didn't say anything about it, I think there was a sense of self-abandonment that I didn't have the nerve to say something. And that's a disappointing feeling. I get disappointed in myself when I don't have the wherewithal to stand up for myself or to say what I need to say.
To say what I mean and mean what I say.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel dirty. I feel used. I feel less than.
Yeah.
It affects me emotionally and physically.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it's like I regress. If it's a big overstep in a boundary, that like can put me into like a self-doubt, depression, like sadness. It comes back to that dirty feeling, like I would need to wash it off of my body. And
I can almost feel it when you say it.
yeah, that's on the deeper end of boundaries being crossed.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, and I think it's all the same feeling and just in varying degrees of intensity.
I think I'm at a point now where I don't have boundaries that are so weak that they greatly, at least negatively, impact my actual relationships. It's mostly the relationship with myself that's impacted by my not setting a boundary if I should.
Yeah, I don't think I'm around many people who push up on boundaries like that much anymore.
Yeah.
And that's come with discernment, right? And making sure that the people around me respect me and understand me. And then there's those who don't know me. And it's like, how do I toe those boundaries? And I'm pretty firm in those, considering I don't know the person. Right. So it's like, I feel
And
like,
giving them the benefit of the doubt that they don't know you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the other part of it, is like, I have to gauge who this person is and how much do they know me, right? Because if it's something done innocently and accidentally, it's one thing.
Right.
But if it's intentional, that's a whole other thing,
Right.
right? I told you no, and yet you did it.
Right.
Versus,
and there's a difference between whether it's a setting of a boundary or the policing of a boundary.
what's
Right.
the difference?
The setting of a boundary is I'm telling you for the first time, right? So we're going from that place of you don't know, or you don't know me like that, and I'm going to tell you, right? And so there's me setting the boundary. Then if you push up against it after you already know it's there, then my job is to police that boundary. That's what I call it, policing the boundary, right? Then it's like, okay, you have this information and you did this anyway. Now maybe you forgot, maybe whatever, but it becomes a different thing when I have to start policing the boundary that I set.
Do you see why she's so good? Question 7. Where must I be clear? Clarity is kindness. Ambiguity breeds conflict. I want to encourage you guys to identify at least one specific area with this question. Where must I be clearer? I think for myself, it's where my energy is depleted and where my capacity is reached.
Yeah.
There isn't much happening in my life where I have a lot of my boundaries being pushed up on, thankfully. But my capacity and what I'm doing and who I'm doing it with and why I'm doing it, I think those are where I need to be clear, not only with other people, but with myself. I think with myself at the most, because I'm overstepping my own words to do.
Yeah, I think, yes, you just nailed it. Where I must be clearer is with myself, for sure, in terms of, what I agree to do or what I even take on. Sometimes the conversation is totally with myself. Like I take things on internally because I think I need to, when in some cases nobody even asked me, right? It's like I need to be really clear about what I have the energy for and what I have the capacity for before I decide to go off and run off and do things.
Yeah. These are great questions. All right, question 8. What boundary will I practice this week? Not a dramatic overhaul, just one boundary, one sentence, one context. And I want you guys to make it practical, make it real, make it achievable.
Yeah, I think, this incident that I've been referring to, I think I'm going to go back and clean that up, actually. I think I'm going to go back and clean that boundary up.
Oh, I hope it wasn't me. Was it me?
Maybe.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
No.
All right. Whew. For myself, it's about reflecting on capacity again. I'm traveling to Michigan tomorrow. I'll be traveling for a few days and going out to an intensive out there. And I'm going out there tired, right? So,
which means when we're done doing this recording, you got to not take on too much today.
Yeah, right? So I got to watch my capacity
Watch
today.
your capacity today.
Yeah.
All
right. What about you, Mama?
I already said.
Oh, that's right. The
I
one
already
going
said.
back and scolding me once the camera comes off. So let's review month 5, week 2, boundaries as capacity. Again, these questions, we're going to read them out. 3 minutes for each question. Pause, come back in a day or two, and then review and reflect even further.
So question 1, what boundary do I avoid setting and why?
2, how does my body respond when a boundary is crossed?
3, where do I override my own no to maintain connection?
4, what story justifies weak boundaries?
5, what would boundaries sound like from self-respect?
6, what has weak boundaries cost me?
7, where must I be clearer?
8, what boundary will I practice this week?
So here's what most people don't realize. A boundary is not a rejection of someone else. It's a commitment to your own nervous system.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And here's the hard truth. If someone only likes you when you have weak boundaries, they don't like you. They like your compliance. It's crazy.
Yeah.
This week's lesson is simple. Say it earlier, say it cleaner, and say it calmly. You don't need volume, you need clarity.
We'll see you Tuesday inside Conscious Conversations. And remember, resentment is delayed honesty. Don't delay it. We'll see you Tuesday.
See you Tuesday. Good job, Mama K.